Yeah.
All right, so my name is John Bernal, and I am a student success advocate. You might be asking yourself, what is a student success advocate? Well, our jobs are to assist with your success and helping you reach your goals in and out of the classroom. So however you define success, our job is to get you there. Just to give you a few examples of what that may look like is maybe your goal is to get a C+ out of your Math 1010 class, but in order to do that, you need a tutor, whether that's a free tutor or a paid tutor. If you're not sure where to find those tutoring opportunities or offices, that's something we can assist with. Maybe you plan on doing research outside of the classroom to make yourself more competitive or finding a job after you graduate, or you plan on going to graduate school and having that research experience on your resume would make your application that much more powerful. If you're not sure where to look for those opportunities or how to talk to your professor, that's something we can assist with as well. Maybe it's scholarships. Maybe you're tired of working 10, 15, 20, 30 hours a week in order to pay for school. And so any amount of money would be helpful to help pay for your books or your tuition. You're not sure when to apply, how to write a personal statement, how to ask for letters of recommendation. Again, something we'd be happy to sit down and work with you on. Maybe it's housing insecurity or food insecurity. Maybe you just want to vent. Maybe it's about your roommate, your significant other, your parents. Maybe something was said by your professor or another classmate, and it's just not sitting so well with you. You just need someone to sit down with and kind of hear you out. That's something we'd be happy to do. It could be jobs, internships, anything under the sun to make sure that you're happy and you're doing well as a student at the University of Utah. What makes us unique is we'll meet you anywhere on campus. So if you reached out and said, hey, can you meet me in the Union Building, or can you meet me Gardner Commons or up in the resident halls and the common areas, one of us would be able to accommodate you and meet you anywhere on campus. What also makes us unique is we're text friendly. So if you didn't even want to meet with us, which only hurts our feelings just a little bit, that's perfectly fine. You can just text us a question and we'll get back to you with an answer. Obviously, if it's a detailed explanation, we might request that we try to meet in person or talk on the phone or do a Zoom conversation. But there's a lot of students who I've never met just because I text with them all the time. If you want, any students or parents who might be listening to this, feel free to just go to our website, which is ssa.utah.edu, and you can look up the bios for each individual student success advocate and learn about us. And you can find our email and our phone numbers there that you can reach out to us. So, all right, I'm going to turn it over to Loretta.
So John said it well. I let him do the intro for us, but my name is Loretta Rowley, and I am also a student success advocate. And so I do a lot of the same things as John. But my job is mostly just to introduce who else we'll be talking today. And so first up, we're going to be hearing from the Office of Undergraduate Research. Christina.
Hello. I'm going to share my screen, or attempt to, if I do this right. Okay, is it working? Can you all see it? Perfect. So my name is Christina Trepanier, and I work for the Office of Undergraduate Research. I'm the primary undergraduate research advisor. So if you have questions about getting started with research or the programs we offer, I'm the gal you want to reach out to. I've shared our website and set up a PowerPoint today because I have a lot of information to share in a short period of time, and I'm probably going to talk really, really fast. So if you have any questions, just let me know. But first and foremost, I'm going to start out with the About Us page because I think it's important to know how to contact us and kind of who's working in our office. So even though we're all working remote, we're up and fully functioning, so you can reach out to us generally with our email and phone number during our normal business hours, and we'll get back to you and help you in any way we can. My information is right here. I encourage you to email me if you have questions versus phone. Skype for Business and I have not been friends during working remotely. So send me that email if you have questions. You can also click on this nifty little make an appointment button, and it will take you to this page where you can make a general information advising appointment with me. It is held virtually, so we can do it through the phone or through like Skype essentially, and we can talk about all things research that we don't have enough time to cover today. I'm going to jump right in and start talking about our first program we offer, which is the Undergraduate Research Opportunities Program, or UROP, as you often hear it referred to. This is the most popular program we have because we provide you a $1,200 stipend over the course of the semester to work 120 hours with a faculty mentor. How you work those 120 hours, you and your faculty mentor figure out. So if you're wondering how you find a faculty mentor and how you find a research opportunity, those are all things we talk about in an advising meeting in detail. We have all of our deadlines listed on the side always. Fall 2020 is fast approaching, but spring 2021 is also up if you're considering research, right away. We have our eligibility requirements listed. We have our student expectations and our mentor expectations, which in an advising meeting we go through thoroughly. These are also expectations you want to go through with your faculty mentor when you're in that meeting with them. I do want to highlight two student expectations that we're going to talk about today. So attend at least 2 undergraduate research education series events, and then presenting your research at our undergraduate research symposium. With UROP though, you can do 2 semesters of UROP. They can be back-to-back. They don't have to be same faculty mentor. They don't have to be same research project. They don't have to be. How you choose to do those 2 semesters, if you want to do 2 semesters of research, is really ideally up to you. Just know that if you're going on to that 2nd semester with that same faculty mentor on that same research project, you still have to apply with a whole new application. How to apply is the tab you're going to want to look at to see our application process. And again, in an advising meeting, we'd go over that in thorough detail because it is a pretty hectic process. But we're going to jump over and talk about those undergraduate research education series events that I mentioned. So this is open to everyone across campus, whether you're doing research through our office or not. But if you do UROP through our office, you have to attend 2 of these. Each semester you do UROP. So that could be 4 total if you do 2 semesters. Ideally, we'd like you to attend the 2 that are interesting, but in the real world, you're going to attend the 2 that fit in your schedule, and that's okay. So these are held virtually this summer. Usually they're held in person, but they're held every semester, so spring, summer, and fall. I think these personally also help you successfully be a student here at the U. If you have to write a research paper, doing library research might be kind of helpful. But we have a bunch of them that you can kind of browse at your leisure. And again, if you had questions about those, we would cover them in detail in the advising meeting. I also really quickly want to talk about the Undergraduate Research Symposium. So this is, again, open to everyone across campus, regardless if you're doing research with us or not. But if you're doing your Up Your Own office, you do have to attend this. It was held virtually this year due to COVID, but usually it's in person in spring in the ballroom. I encourage you to look at what students have submitted though, because it is pretty remarkable how students came together during COVID, like right in the middle of their research. So it was pretty cool. But you can do a poster presentation, an oral presentation, a performance, a visual arts, an exhibit, kind of whatever your heart desires, we let you present. So you just apply and you show up and you present that day. It's also really cool to see what other students are presenting. There's a lot of really cool research just happening across campus. The other fun program we offer is the Summer Program for Undergraduate Research, or SPUR, we call it. All these fun acronyms. So SPUR was canceled this summer due to COVID, but we're hoping it'll be up and running again next summer. This is a 10-week research experience. So you work 35 to 40 hours a week and you get a $4,000 or $5,000 stipend. So it's a great way to get a lot of research experience in a short period of time, because 35 to 40 hours a week is a full-time job, and you're doing that for 10 weeks. SPUR is a little different than UROP though, in that UROP you find that faculty mentor and that research experience and you go about it that way. With SPUR, faculty actually email us, make a really good case why we should post this opportunity, and then you apply to it and you spend the next 10 weeks with them. So it's a pretty cool opportunity if that's something you're thinking about. Fingers crossed, we'll be able to do it next summer. The other thing we offer are travel and small grants. So travel grants are for, you guessed it, anything related to travel for up to $500. They can cover airfare, lodging, conference registration, etc. And then small grants are for up to $200, and they can cover research supplies, special training fees, whatever else you may need to do your research project successfully. So if you're like, oh, I need to buy that for this project, consider applying for a small grant. Small grants and travel grants are competitive in that we can't award everyone, so we encourage students to apply as often as you can and as early as you can. And you can get 1 travel grant and 1 small grant as a U student. We also have this cool designation we can offer you, the Undergraduate Research Scholar designation. You will get shiny cords to wear at graduation, and you'll get a cool designation on your transcripts. All you have to do is complete 2 semesters of research, cross campus, through us, whatever it may be, present at that symposium, and then submit to our undergraduate research journal. The undergraduate research journal sounds a lot scarier than it is, I promise. We allow students to kind of submit whatever, as long as you have your mentor approval. So you can submit an abstract, You can submit an entire research paper. You could submit a narrative about what you learned, how it helped your career goals and your educational goals, etc. We leave it broad because we know students sometimes have sensitive information that they can't, submit or tell us about, and that's okay. So whatever your mentor approves, you can go ahead and submit. You can also look at what other students have submitted. We have all the years on there, and it's actually really cool. The last thing I want to highlight before I run out of time is our undergraduate research leaders. So these are students who've done research or are currently doing research, and they work in our office. We only have 2 this summer, and Callie's actually only doing IRB work, so Claire is the gal you're going to want to meet with. It's all virtually, but you can reach out to her and set up an appointment and just ask her questions about the fun parts, the not so fun parts. They can also tell you about everything I told you about today. They can tell you about helping with posters and presentations and all that fun stuff. So they're really knowledgeable, and they're great resources to have. So I've said a lot of stuff to you in a short period of time. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask when everyone's done presenting, or again, you can shoot me an email or make that appointment with me, and we can talk about everything I just told you in a lot more detail. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Christina. Up next, we'll have the Career and Professional Development Center with James.
Alrighty, hello, my name is James Christensen, and I am a career ambassador at the CPDC, the Career and Professional Development Center here at the University of Utah. Now, let me just get the screen share up real quickly. Da-da-da. We're going to present that. Alrighty, can everyone see that? All right, excellent. So the Career and Professional Development Center, we are all about helping students on their journey that kind of starts in college, but then goes on to affect the rest of your life. And that's kind of following your career. Often we talk about how you kind of have to have everything figured out in college by the time you get here, but what our office is all about is helping you find out what you want to do with your life, and to chase it, to find jobs, to find internships, and all sorts of other cool things that'll really help you along on that journey. So our office offers a variety of different services. Even though during these kind of troubling times, we offer all sorts of stuff, and I'm going to kind of go through all of them really quickly. Again, it's all virtual, so it's great. We individually go through resumes and cover letters that all sorts of students send in, and we help guide and show different examples of resumes to kind of help you know what it is you want to put on a resume, since there's all sorts of confusing facts about it on the internet. We're here to help you get that all straight. We offer a virtual studio service where you can actually come in and talk one-on-one with me or one of the other career ambassadors that work daily, and we have all sorts of advice on all sorts of things. We do video and phone appointments. We have a really tremendous team of excellent and very skilled career coaches who they specify in all sorts of different fields, health, nursing, engineering, and they know all of the ins and outs of career searching in those different jobs. And you can set up video and phone appointments with them through our website found on this slide, careers.utah.edu. We also offer a website called Handshake. We partner with them, and they have thousands of jobs and internship postings that you as a student at University of Utah have access to, and you can go on it and you can apply to tons of jobs. And what's great about this that's different from all of the other stuff like Indeed and Craigslist is that all of the jobs on Handshake are looking for are specifically looking for U of U students, and of all grade levels. So lots of people think that you should only get a job in your field when you're a senior, but actually, like there are tons of opportunities for even freshmen to find really great jobs for them here in this field. And so it's a really great resources. So we are most definitely here for you at the CPDC, and we will help you with anything related to career search. So you can always count on us. And yeah, that's everything I have.
Awesome. Thank you, James. Up next, we'll be hearing from Learning Abroad with Daniel.
All right, thanks, Loretta. Let me share my screen.
Do you want to?
Oh, yeah, there we go. All right, can everyone see my screen? That look right? Okay. Hi, my name is Daniel Watson. Thanks for the introduction, Loretta. I work in the Learning Abroad office. I am the marketing and technology coordinator for our office, and I also supervise a portfolio of students who go on social work programs. I'm going to be given a brief introduction today just about what Learning Abroad is and some other important information about it. So first things first, what is Learning Abroad? It's the opportunity to live, study, and intern abroad, all with the overall goal of enhancing your academic and career goals while you're here at the University of Utah getting a degree that will then get you a job in the field that you're looking at. Notice here, live and study, that's pretty common, and then intern. We also have a fairly large portfolio of internships that you're able to do. And then my colleague is also going to be talking about Hinckley after this, so listen up for those internship opportunities. So really, I think it's important to take a look at why students learn abroad when they're at the University of Utah, what our students kind of gain from these experiences. The most important one for us really is that you're making progress towards graduation. It's a common myth that these programs will put you behind to graduate and you may not be able to get the major credit that you might need for a specific requirement within your major. And I'm here to tell you that that's definitely not the case as long as you're working with your academic advisor and working with us. Our goal is to make sure that these programs do not put you behind in terms of graduation. You can complete major or minor credits on majority of our programs and or general ed credits. An important one being the international requirement, which is a general education requirement at the University of Utah that you can fulfill by taking one of our programs that's 3 credits or more, which is the majority of our programs. Another reason that our students study abroad, participate on a Learning Abroad program, is it really gives them a new perspective into the field and or major that they're studying. You know, when you're in a classroom constantly learning something and don't necessarily see it being applied by kind of diverse professions out in the world, it's hard to know what you can do with a specific degree. I myself was a history major and you know, in undergrad maybe didn't find a ton of immediate applications for that, but my Learning Abroad experience, and we hear this from our students who come back, that their Learning Abroad experience really helps them kind of focus this and gives them options for what they might want to do in a given field and with their major. Of course, learning a language is a reason that our students learning abroad. I will say that the majority of our students are participating on English language programs. They don't have to be focused on language, but if you do want to study a language, really boost your proficiency in a given language, I highly recommend it. Whether you want to do Spanish, French, German, Chinese, Japanese, we have a new intensive Arabic program that's going to be starting next summer. So if learning a language is one of your goals, this is a great opportunity to improve that. Achieving your personal goals, if you want to live outside of the United States, study outside of the United States, work outside of the US, this is a great opportunity to do so, especially since once you graduate, things might be more complicated. Whether you have an apartment, a dog, a partner, it can be easier now to do it with our office supporting you, as well as the scholarship and money that we have to put behind students to participate on these opportunities. So now's a good time to take advantage of it. And then finally, a big thing that we want to say is that learning abroad is a very large resume enhancer. Only 1 in 10 students nationally will have learned abroad by the time they graduate. And yet we know from statistics, from research, that students who participate on learning abroad are able to find jobs faster, able to have a higher starting salary once they graduate than their peers who haven't. And they're really able to develop fundamentally important career skills like confidence, independence, problem solving, adaptability that their peers on campus might not be able to do. So this really is an opportunity to make yourself stand out. So we highly encourage you to take advantage of it. So what does a timeline for this look like? I've got here kind of the year-long timeline. We like to say that it takes about 12 months to plan for a learning abroad program. If you look on the left hand of this, we've got the end of the summer, the beginning of fall. So we want you to be thinking about it kind of right now. One of the first things you should do is complete Learning Abroad 101. This is a one-time information session, which covers a lot of the nuts and bolts about how to learn abroad and kind of what to expect. So if you send us an email with your name and UID and say, please enroll me in this, it's not for credit, but it is mandatory for everyone who wants to participate on the Learning Abroad program. So go in and get that done. After you've done that, you can meet with one of our Learning Abroad coordinators. So that's our advising staff who work with groups, who work with students based on the majors that they come from. So we have a coordinator for students who are studying health, for students who are studying engineering, humanities. And so they have kind of a level of expertise within those given fields of studies to advise you on. So come in and talk to one of our coordinators, and then also be sure to be talking to your academic advisor because they're going to be the ones who are helping to make sure that you're on track to graduate. So once you've done that and kind of laid out some specific goals that you might want to achieve on a learning abroad program, whether it's a language or getting specific major requirements, start looking at scholarships. The earlier you do this, the better, and the more time there will be for our office to help you craft, a better essay or send you guys over to Career and Professional Development Services to have them help out. There's a lot of resources that we can point you in the direction of. And then between November and February of a year, looking for a program to apply for. So it's about 12 months, and this is for learning abroad in the summer when most of our students go. But if you wanted to be learning abroad in the fall or the spring, you could just push it back 12 months and kind of start from there. I do want to talk really briefly kind of about budget and cost. One of the biggest misconceptions about learning abroad is that it must be more expensive than studying here in the US, than studying here at the U. So this is a comparison. I'm not going to get too much into it, but the red is the cost of a fall semester at the University of Utah, and the blue is the cost of a learning abroad program that goes for a full semester, and they're in Tuscany studying architecture. So this is specific to architecture. There are some prereqs for architecture that you would need. But what I wanted to show here is that holistically, if you look at the varying costs between what it would cost to live and study in Salt Lake City versus what it would be to be in Tuscany in this case, is the costs are almost identical. Now, there are always going to be a difference in cost in terms of travel because there's the added travel, the flight cost. But other than that, you can see that we have a tuition discount for credits on our faculty-led programs. And so that can really make up the difference in terms of the overall cost. So when you are thinking about learning abroad, make sure you think holistically about things like costs of living. If you were to choose to go learn abroad in a city like London or Paris, where the cost of living is higher than Salt Lake City, that might be an added cost. But if you're able to find locations where the cost is the same, it could be that they cost the same and or less. So please keep that in mind. Really quickly too, our office gives out roughly $250,000 in scholarships. And last academic year, students from the U received almost $500,000 in scholarships to learn abroad. And so don't let anyone tell you that there's not funding for this. We have a number of scholarships that we distribute. That's the Office for Global Engagement scholarships there in the red. And then there are both departmental scholarships and external scholarships that we're pretty adept in helping our students receive to participate on a program. So come and ask us. We have scholarship funding. It's there for you, so we want you guys to apply for it. I would be remiss if I didn't cover a couple of really quick questions that we're getting regarding COVID-19 and how it's impacting learning abroad. So our fall 2020 program application dates are passed, and so you kind of missed the boat for that if you were hoping to apply for those. However, for spring 2021, the question is still, will I be able to learn abroad? Currently, the plan is yes, and we hope that to be the case, but that will obviously be up to a variety of reasons, whether there's safe or unsafe travel conditions, delayed application times in passports and visas, and whether the U may cancel international travel. But as of right now, spring 2021 programs are a go, as well as programs after that. Should I apply for scholarships for upcoming terms? The answer is definitely yes. Our policy is that if your program is canceled due to COVID-19, that we're going to hold your scholarships for up to 18 months. So that will give you plenty of time, if you are a recipient of a scholarship for a given term, to reapply to a program down the line. I'll also say that because we have a lower amount of students applying to learn abroad right at the moment, if you apply now for scholarships for a given upcoming term, it may be that you're part of a smaller pool than normal, so there might be even a better chance of getting scholarships. And we're going to hold them for you for more than a year. So it's a no-brainer to apply for those now. And then last, what happens if I've committed to an upcoming program and no longer feel comfortable participating? That's totally okay. If the program is canceled due to COVID-19, all of the program will be refunded, including your initial payment, but you will need to submit a withdrawal form for that as soon as possible. And we have on our website as well an FAQ page regarding all of these questions. So if you do have any further questions, you can reference that page and or email our office. So to wrap up, if you go to our website, which is learningabroad.utah.edu, and scroll down, there is a search and apply button where you can look at the database of programs that we have, take a look at those and start looking at our scholarships, our programs, seeing what might meet your goals and priorities. And then lastly, I'll say that that first step, signing up for Learning Abroad 101, is something that you can do right now. You could do it over the summer and get that completed. So feel free to reach out to us. Our email address is there, learningabroad@utah.edu. Send us an email with your name and your UID and say, hey, I want to sign up for Learning Abroad 101, and it'll get you in the pipeline for participating on an upcoming Learning Abroad program. The times on here, you know, our office is currently closed on campus, but we are taking phone calls at that phone number, as well as you can contact us by email, be the best way. So please follow us on social media, and we look forward to working with you in the future.
Thanks, Daniel. And up next, we'll be hearing from the Hinckley Institute of Politics with Miranda.
All right, thank you. So I am Miranda Best. I'm the outreach coordinator from the Hinckley Institute on campus, and I'm going to talk about how students can get involved in internships. So internships are really important for students to participate in. The more you can do, the better. And so it's really great. So whether you do your internship through Hinckley, Learning Abroad, or if you find something through Handshake, whatever your opportunity is, we hope that you take advantage of as many of these as you can. So I'd like to share my screen with you to go through the presentation, if I can get this to work. Okay, cool. So the Hinckley Institute has been around on campus for over 50 years. We were initially founded with the purpose of getting students involved in politics and that community civic engagement. And so that is why our full title is Hinckley Institute of Politics. But since our founding, we have expanded our programs to help students of all majors and all academic interests find internships in Salt Lake, Washington, D.C., and in over 50 countries worldwide. And so these internships, like I said, were initially geared towards getting students involved in that political realm, but that is still a little bit of our goal, in the sense that we want students to be civically engaged and understand how their interests, whether it's healthcare or education or foreign affairs, whatever it is, learning how to connect that back into the community, and how is that impacted by policy or by issues that we're seeing within our state, nation, and world. And so since then, we have now expanded, and we have internships, like I said, in all majors. So business, healthcare, science, wherever you're at, we've got opportunities for you. And so we really want students to be thinking about, why is it important to do an internship? The media gives this negative portrayal of interns, right? We frequently see in the movies that they are the person who's getting coffee for everyone in the office, or they're shoved in a corner doing paperwork, right? We make sure that the internships that we set up our students with are substantive. So you are doing real hands-on projects with the other staffers in the office. So it could look like working on projects like community-based research or data analysis, or doing community outreach, or marketing and strategic communications, or planning events, right? So we have a lot of really great opportunities for students based on their interests and where they do their internship. So it's really important for students to build that real world experience and have the opportunity to be exposed to different types of work opportunities. You may think you want to do something and head down a career path, and then the best way to test that is to do an internship. Either you learn a lot from it and realize maybe it wasn't the best thing for you. You learned a lot, it was a good experience, but didn't really like it. Or, wow, that was incredible. How can I do more of this? And so that really helps students solidify their interests and figure out where they want to head with the rest of their education and into their professional development and careers. Additionally, it's really important to have a professional network and build that as a student. And that can be in any opportunity. So if it's through your research or volunteering or doing an internship or working in a job, you want to build networks and relationships with as many people as possible, because that is how our world works these days. It's who you know that's going to get you connections into other opportunities. And so doing an internship is a great way to build that network. And then you're getting your resume, you're strengthening that resume and adding more opportunities and experiences on there. And then you can also earn course credit by doing an internship through the Hinckley Institute. So anywhere from 3 to 6 credits will be applicable towards a semester-long internship, depending on how many hours a week you work in your internship. And then tying it back to that civic engagement component I mentioned earlier, where we really want students to figure out how their interests can tie into issues that we're seeing in the community and have them make that connection and get involved. So I mentioned earlier, all of our internship programs are located here in Salt Lake, Washington, D.C., and abroad. So since the Hinckley's been around for a long time, we've developed hundreds of partnerships and relationships with these organizations. And so we have like a vetted process with them. And so they accept students every semester from the Hinckley Institute. And so it can frequently be easier for students to come to us and apply to be a part of our program, and then we connect those students with our partners, rather than a student trying to go and apply for an internship on their own. So our local internships are really great for freshmen and sophomores to start out who maybe don't have a lot of work experience yet. They're flexible with your work schedule and your work in your school schedule, so that way you can fit in 10 to 20 hours a week of your internship. And this is a great way to get just that brief exposure, to start out with a professional experience, and get the ball rolling from there. Then we have our legislative internship, which is very policy focused, because we have our interns working up at the Capitol during the legislative session in spring semester. This is a full-time internship for about 6 weeks. You do get paid by the state just under $2,800, and you are getting a front row ticket to see what it is like to make policy in the state of Utah, which is really cool. So the interns themselves are assigned to legislators and lobbyists and nonprofits and businesses who need help during the legislative session, which is absolutely incredible. Then we have our Washington, D.C. internship, and this is something I wish I would have done when I was a student. I just didn't understand that this was an option for me. D.C. is really expensive, and it's really hard to manage being there for a short amount of time. And so we have a set of apartments that are fully furnished, and we subsidize the housing, so students only pay half of the rent. So they pay $450 a month, which is incredible. That's cheaper than what I pay in Salt Lake. So to pay that price for DC is unheard of. And so you're there for the duration of the semester. And then if your host office doesn't pay you, then we have funding to give students the stipends to cover the cost of their housing, and then additional funding to help with things like transportation and food, stuff like that. So again, DC seems very political, and it is. Most of our host offices out there do have some sort of policy focus to them, but not all of them. We still have other things that are within international affairs or healthcare or business. And so again, students of any major can participate in an internship in Washington, DC. And then lastly, we have our global internships. And so these are, what's a little bit different about our global internships and going through learning abroad is they're both really great experiences. Ours are, we work directly with the host offices to place you with them. And with learning abroad, you go through another program that helps place you. So both really great experiences. Our internships qualify for that, our global internships qualify for that discounted tuition that Daniel mentioned earlier. So you're only paying $45 per credit for a global internship, which is a huge money saver. So as Daniel was saying with learning abroad, students get really nervous, like, I don't have that much money to go abroad for a semester. But with that discounted tuition, it makes it so much more affordable. And then additionally, like Daniel mentioned, there are so many scholarships available for students. And so we want to make this as affordable as possible for students to participate. And so we make it happen. There's also the option to set up your own internship. So we, like I mentioned, Hinckley has our partnerships that we have established, but if students have their own connections, whether it's through a professor or a neighbor or a family friend, you can set up your own internship and then come to us, and as long as it fulfills our requirements, you can get credit for it, which is really awesome. So just some things to keep in mind. We do have two general requirements. We look for a 3.0 GPA and that students are in good standing with the university. Mostly the 3.0 GPA is to ensure your competitiveness. However, if you have something that's a little bit lower, we can work with you. And then you want to be planning about 1 or 2 semesters ahead of time, just because that's how much time we need for interviewing and placement and things like that. And then when you are applying, you want to do some research on our website to find which host offices interest you. So say you are in that healthcare realm. This is a page that you would find. And you can browse through all of our partnerships in Utah, Washington, D.C., and abroad. And it breaks it down real nicely to see where you can potentially go for your internship. And so once you've applied to us, we conduct an interview with you, and then we connect you with our contacts at the host offices you're interested in. And then we work with you to get that those interviews going and get you placed in a host office. So I want to show you just real quick where you can find those where you can find a list of all of those host offices on our website. So if you come to our website here, you can visit our internships page, and you can search by a few different ways. You can either search just by location, or where I generally like to send students is internships by major. And so here you'll go through, they're more by discipline rather than by major, but you can come through and see everything we've got. So say you are, let's see, where's this one? Environmental studies major. You can come here and see everything that we've got in our 3 programs that are applicable to that particular major. So there's that. If you have questions, we don't have like an advising scheduler on our website per se, but you can email. You can sign up for our email address here, or you can email this info@hinckley.utah.edu. Those emails actually go to me, and then I can set up an advising appointment with you virtually, and we can talk about internship opportunities that would be appropriate for you. So that's it.
Awesome, thank you. So I know that was a lot of information to take in, but Aspen, do you have any questions for us or our campus partners?
I was just going to ask, for the undergraduate research, I'm coming in as a freshman, so is this something that I can like start my first year, or do students typically like do it later, like their sophomore, junior year, closer to like graduation?
That is a great question and a very common question we get. You can start research whenever you'd like. If you want to do it your first semester, we meet with students who are still in high school sometimes, so it's definitely capable. A lot of students do wait until their junior or senior year, but there's no perfect timeline. Whenever you feel comfortable, you can meet with us and we can get you started.
Okay, great. I think that was, I feel like everything else was covered really well. I learned a lot about like just different opportunities, so thanks.
Awesome, thank you for joining us. I think Aspen had a great question I can pose to the rest of our offices too. Do you have any, I guess, recommendations about timeline for internships or reaching out for career learning abroad? Or I guess like even speaking to what are some of the common kind of time periods when students will reach out to your offices?
I'm happy to jump in there about learning abroad. I'd say in general, students at the U tend to go abroad when they're have the credit limit about juniors and seniors, mostly because we have a pretty large transfer student population. That's not to say we don't have students who do try to participate on learning abroad programs, whether it's the summer after their freshman year is kind of the earliest that you could do it, or during their sophomore year. You know, it really depends on where the student's at and what they're studying and all those different things. For example, an engineering student has a much more specific window of when they need to study abroad versus a humanities student. So it can kind of vary depending on what students are studying. But I will plug a upcoming LEAP program if students are familiar with LEAP. There is a program that our parent office, the Office for Global Engagement, is in the process of promoting and has developed, which is a global LEAP program where the first semester, the fall semester of a student's freshman year, they will spend here on the main campus, and then the spring semester will be at the University of Utah Asia campus in South Korea. And so if that's something that students are interested in and want to have an early international experience before that kind of sophomore to senior year window, that is also an opportunity. And students can sign up for that by registering for the LEAP course.
As far as internships go, there's an idea that students should wait until their junior or senior year to do an internship, but we actually encourage students to start sooner if they feel comfortable. Just because the sooner you start, the more opportunities will be available to you for the rest of your college career. So for incoming freshmen, for those who are really ambitious and want to get going, we always recommend they start with a local internship, either the spring semester or the summer semester following their freshman year. But definitely by maybe end of sophomore year, we really encourage students to have done at least one local internship. And then from there, it sets them up for more success to participate in like a DC or a global internship their juniors or senior year.
If I could hop in as well for the Career and Professional Development Center, I'd recommend heading over to our website as soon as possible. We have a ton of events that are going to be coming up really soon. We have a career fair. We have a STEM fair, which is the same thing, but for STEM jobs. It's really great to get that calendar as soon as possible for all of the really great things that we have lined up to help inspire students with career and job related things. So definitely check that out as soon as possible. There's really no time limit for that kind of stuff.
I have a question for the Career and Professional Development Center. Will there be a job fair in the fall? And if so, like, what does that look like?
Yes, I'd love to answer that to the best of my ability. We are planning on doing a virtual career and job fair. There are some links that I don't believe they're posted quite yet that students will be able to sign up for and then attend. We have a couple of different days for a couple of different employers, and the specifics elude me, but it's going to be kind of like this. You're going to go into a Zoom meeting, talk with some different employers, and yeah, but there will definitely be career fairs this fall.
Yeah, and I can add a little bit too, if that helps. Hi, I work for the Career Center as well. I'm Anna. I'm a career coach, and so our career fairs will be virtual. All of our events in the fall will be virtual. Handshake, which James mentioned earlier, is launching a career fair module as part of Handshake. So students will actually log in through Handshake to access the career fairs that are happening in the fall. And to make those fairs a little less overwhelming, our fairs will be split into 2 days. So we usually have a student job fair. It's the first week of school, and that will be split into 2 days. So the first day will be on-campus jobs, and then the second day will be off-campus student jobs. And then we will have a STEM fair, science, technology, engineering, math, and that will be split into 2 days as well, back to back, just so that when a student logs into these fairs, it's not like overload of employers, and they'll be a lot shorter too. They won't take up the entire day like a physical career fair would. So James is right. There will be, those events will be posted in Handshake. So definitely try and get into Handshake as soon as you can. It's just super easy. It'll start asking you some questions, which is what's so great about Handshake, is that it asks you questions and then it tells you kind of what jobs are aligned with your interest in your major, which is super helpful, as well as events. So you can use that. So yeah, and the dates of those many fairs, right, are now in Handshake. So there's going to be a fair for like social impact and government jobs as well. So that's going to be really great. So yeah, hopefully that answers the question. We're excited, even though things are virtual in the fall, our office has transitioned very well and has been able to support students from the comfort of their sofas or bedrooms or whatever it may be.
So I have a question. I was wondering if you could either touch on like what regrets students may have, like maybe they're about to graduate and they come to you and they're like, oh shoot, I wish I had done X, Y, and Z. Why didn't I do it? Like, yeah, are there any regrets that students have about not getting involved sooner or asking for help, or just kind of what you hear from students?
I'll say we frequently get seniors who come in, they're about to graduate, like, can I do an internship? Like, I'm gonna graduate and I don't have a job. I've never done an internship before. That was me. I did that. And so, yeah, it's very much, it's like students are waiting, and 4 years, believe it or not, goes by really fast. And there's so much on campus, like you can't do it all. As much as you would like to, it's just hard. And so I think, there's kind of this idea like, okay, let me get my first year of school to just like kind of settle in. And the next thing you know, it's your senior year and you're graduating. So it's like, if you don't get involved in something soon, it's going to be a lot harder to do that the later it goes. So yeah, we frequently get seniors their very last semester, like, what do I do? I need an internship. I need to graduate. I need to have an internship in order to graduate, or I need a job after I graduate. What do I do? And so a lot of times we have students who end up deferring their graduation by a semester. Again, that's what I did. Defer graduation by a semester. So they will walk in spring for graduation, but they'll do their internship over the summer and then technically graduate in August, because they want to take advantage of the resources, or a study abroad, or a global internship, or some other sort of internship. So we see that very frequently at the Hinckley.
Yeah, and I'll chime in there and say that's, anecdotally, we definitely hear from students, as well as maybe even parents or return students, that one of their bigger regrets is not having done a learning abroad program. We do hear that pretty commonly. And I think the kind of the main piece of advice I would have is to just be resilient, that, if you want to find a program, if you do want to go out, whether it's, one of our learning abroad programs or one of these internships that Miranda's talking about, that there are great opportunities out there. And as long as you're willing to go and kind of push for them, you should be able to get them, to get scholarship funding for them, to do them. Where the University of Utah is a really big institution, and there's a lot of kind of specific knowledge that our offices might hold about internships and learning abroad and stuff like that. We often run into students who might say that their academic advisors said that it would be difficult to do, but when we work with them, we're able to find things. So my recommendation would be to kind of talk to both your academic advisor as well as our office, because we want to make it happen for you. And so, like Miranda said, if there's that timing window and you only have a short amount of time, look into these opportunities now and take advantage of them while you're here.
And then for the Career and Professional Development Center, there's two big regrets that I hear. Is usually it's when I meet with a student to talk about resumes or internships or interviews, they say, man, I wish I knew this earlier. And like with anything, like there's so many tips that we have available that'll just blow most people's minds. The other big thing that a lot of people don't take advantage of is talking to a career coach about what kind of things you can do with your majors in the future. I've known a couple of students that they'll say, wow, I finished my major and then I realized that there's not a lot in the field that I want to do, or someone that'll be like, wow, I didn't know that there's such a cool thing in the field that I could do, that maybe I could have selected some specific classes to kind of push me towards that specific thing. We have so many resources that just point you directly on the right track that you want to go to. So take advantage of the career coaches. They're here to help. They will help you find exactly what you're looking for in life.
I don't know if I've had anyone specifically tell me they regret not doing like research, but I will say that the U is a Research One institution. So doing research here is very easy. Not the research itself necessarily, but finding research is very easy to do. There's faculty everywhere. You can do research across campus, not even through our office. We have a ton of students who present our symposium that have never worked with our office on like anything, but they're doing research in other labs and other departments on campus. So it's really, in my mind, if you go 4 years without doing research, it's impressive because we are such a research intensive institution. So I always tell students when they meet with me, if they're still on the fence, that you're going to gain a lot of practical skills from doing research too. If a health student can present their health research to me and make me understand it, they've got a life skill right there. So it's really easy to do research. And if you're on the fence about it, let me change your mind.
Awesome. Well, Aspen, I just wanted to return to you real quick and see if you had any other questions before we wrap up.
I think mostly everything was covered for me, so.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you. Well, thank you for joining us. Yeah, I think the theme from that last discussion was plan ahead, or at least explore ahead, and get started on your options. So thank you everyone for joining us, and I hope everyone watching at home, if there are more than one of you, enjoy.